All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Of course, thanks for subscribing. We truly appreciate the support. Congrats to everybody. It looks like FSD Beta has finally gone wide in North America and Canada, allowing those who purchased it to now have it, right? Those who have been waiting for it to catch up to the 2023 branch to now have it. So anyone who has a Tesla who requests FSD Beta can now get it in North America. They released a special release 2023.12.10, I believe, which basically gives everyone version 11.3.6 so that everybody can have FSD Beta. All right, so congrats to you if you've been waiting, if you've been asking, if you've been trying to figure out when they're going to get up to the latest build. So this allows you to get it because now it's on a branch that's newer than the newest public build of the software. All right, so that's great for everybody. Shout out to everybody. Hope everybody's enjoying it. Hope everybody's being careful, and hope everyone is taking over early and often. Okay, now with that said, we're still here as part of the OGs to get the latest version of FSD Beta 11.4.2. So that's two builds, two public builds, I should say, or two customer-facing builds ahead of what everybody else has right now. However, in terms of the software, it's a couple versions behind in terms of the software. So you can't get this if you have the latest version of FSD Beta, the public version of FSD Beta 12.10. You can't get this one because this latest version is 2023 7.10. So when this version gets good enough and goes wide, it'll be a version beyond 12.10, and that's going to be your indicator that you're going to get it. But everyone technically has it. They have a version of it, a variant of it, just not this particular version. So right now we've got 11.4.2, which is the latest FSD Beta build. And we're going to take it out for a quick spin. Nothing really major in the release notes here, other than the fact that the suspension for FSD Beta has now gone down to 1 week, from 2 weeks to 1 week. So what that means is if for whatever reason you're driving and using FSD Beta, maybe you're not paying attention, maybe you are paying attention, maybe the system just sort of freaks out, you'd get suspended and you won't be able to engage FSD Beta for 2 weeks previously. And now they brought that down to 1 week. And I believe they also reset the strikes. I didn't have any strikes this particular build, so I can't verify that, but that might be the case as well. Okay, so if you get into these situations where you get more than 5 strikes, you'll just simply can't use FSD Beta for 1 week. And then after that 1 week, you'll be able to go back and use it again and reset your strikes from 5 to 0. All right, so let's take it out on the road for a spin, see how it does, see how it performs. We'll go through our usual test path. And I have a little bit of a different way to do this time in terms of measuring pass fail versus these scenarios, just to quantify it a little bit better. So I'm going to implement that now in this particular video. And then after that, we're going to go down another path that we probably haven't gone down and then see how FSD does. Let's check it out. All right, guys, FSD Beta 11.4.2. I'll engage from the shoulder and start it. Bump up early. First intersection, right turn, stopping. Looking like it wants to go a little wider than normal, which is great. So it might miss this pothole, but it doesn't. Oh, okay. Still a very good turn. Took its time, creeped up, and went for it. So that's pretty good. Nothing different from a visual perspective just yet, but we'll see as we start to interact with more cars. A little bit early here, so I'm not sure a lot of cars are on the road. Good path planning, far out path planning at that. Good job taking the turn, nice and slow. A little bit lower than I would prefer, but still competent and good. Good job taking this turn and staying away from the edge. Course correct, so it doesn't stay towards the edge, which is great. All good stuff. All good stuff. Car's coming. Visualizes a middle lane to keep to the right, which is great, even though it's not technically visible to the human eye. It's there, it's just not visible to the human eye. So the car extrapolates that, which is great. Great job controlling this turn. And the other one. And we're coming up to our first unprotected left, or only unprotected left. Not a high stakes unprotected left, but an unprotected left nonetheless. And again, not a lot of cars here. Stops at the limit line again. creeps forward a little bit, no cars in sight at all, it can just go. Go, 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 go. Hesitates a little bit, takes a sweet time getting out, and then goes. Okay, so that's still not the greatest thing. I'll flag it again. Just still not the greatest. Flag, there we go. Just not the greatest. Okay, so it got out there methodically, slowly, no cars in sight at all, and it just took its sweet time, which is okay when there's no cars in sight, but I'm just concerned that if there are cars, that it's gonna do the exact same thing and create an incident. So that's my only concern there. But otherwise, it's pretty smooth, pretty rock solid, pretty consistent from 11.4.1 in that regard, because it also had a little bit of a hitch where it sort of got out there, waited a minute, and then went. One of the things that's notable about 11.4.1 that this one might have, it kind of jumps out on these intersections. And I'm not sure if it can see and it's just going, or if it's just going for it blindly, hoping that nothing else comes up. Because it gets around turns and corners in certain scenarios that even the human has to lean way forward to see. And we know that those cameras to see left and right are here, right at the human eye level, where the human sits, where it should be further up. That's what a lot of people argue about having the cameras further up by the bumper so it can see further out sooner without getting so far out, without having that creep limit so far out into the road. All right, so far so good. Good behavior that we want to see is we want to see it bias towards the center line and not weave back and forth. That would be a regressive situation. Stay towards the center line like it's doing right now, which is great. Excellent job. Good job so far. And now what we want to see is when it passes this intersection with the light, we want to see it visualize going straight and not blip like it's going to make a left. There's a little bit of a glitch here. I don't know if it's map data or whatever the case may be, but there's a little bit of a glitch. Let's take a close look at the visuals here. Okay, good job. It's not blipping. It blipped in every other version since 11.4, or excuse me, 11.3.6, I should say, inclusive of 11.4.1. Didn't blip here. Now it should stage the lane change here by getting close-ish to this car, creeping up. It can turn on red. Goes green. Doesn't go wide. Nice and tight, nice and smooth. Perfect job. Excellent job here. Okay, so far, pretty consistent, which is what I like to see. I like to see the consistency between the builds to show that there aren't any major regressions. That's why we do this particular test path. And we're here. Okay, I'll make this turn myself. I'll switch to my next path, and I'll actually take off from right here with the next one. Let me just end this trip and go. Got the next destination in. I'm gonna take off from right here since it's light traffic day and just go. It's on a weekend, so shouldn't be any major rush. I shouldn't be impeding anyone, so this would be a good test here. A truer test, a more comprehensive test. Stop sign here. Bias is a little wide to make the turn, which is great for the Plaid because it's a little bit wider. I appreciate that. Makes the turn. Nice and easy. Train track, unlit. Goes over nicely. Good control on this turn, slowing down a little bit, then making the turn, perfect. Now we need to make a left turn. Goes right forward, a little close to the edge here. A little close to the edge because cars typically go past the limit line, so a little bit close. I'm gonna flag that one. Just because a little close. And again, I wanted to avoid danger. Not preferential, I think that was safety critical in that regard. In terms of the main categories that we typically score these build based off of, which is decision-making, confidence, right, comfort, and safety, I think this is doing great across the board. Minus that last one in terms of safety and decision-making, I feel like if a car was creeping up further, it might have to adjust. But since there was no one there, it kind of cut the corner a little close. Not bad because no one was there, but I'm just curious what it would do if someone was actually there. bump back up to 30. Turn here. Little methodical here. No big deal. I'll take it. Always stop. No one else is here. And it proceeds. Great job. So it's interesting with no one really on the road. A little bit of hesitant braking here. That's okay. Waited for the person to come to a stop. Not mad at that. But a little interesting here to see sort of an empty road situation. Not a lot of people are out on the road this early on this weekend. So it's good to see how it actually just handles just an empty road. If it can handle that, then it just needs to handle the variability of different cars coming down it, which should make it a little bit better, a little bit more confidence inspiring. But I'm just curious to see what it does when no cars are here. So typically cars are parked here, so it has to bias towards the center line even more so than it does right now. And now any cars are here, still kind of biasing as you see here in the visuals, which is great. But it does so in a way that, you know, just feels really naturally comfortable. So I'm really liking how it's performing right now. A little wide here for my taste, but again, nothing safety critical. Not gonna flag it. A little sluggish getting up to speed from the light. I think it should come off a little bit quicker to get up to speed. Just to not incite someone behind you, like beeping, like, hurry up and get out of here. Someone is on my tail now. I'm not gonna mind, it's a weekend, you don't have to go anywhere that urgent. Pedestrian on the side of the road. Slows down significantly, cautiously, great, and good timing there because it avoided the sprinklers wetting the car up. Really don't like when people let their sprinklers wet people's cars up. Always stop. No one's here. Stopping for stop sign. Now go. Good job on that one. See, that was a good takeoff. That was a good takeoff response there. Got a little bit more aggressive because we're going uphill. Blind sweeping corner uphill. Car coming. Good job controlling. Big pothole. Missed this one, please? Not really. Kind of, sort of. All right. Great job avoiding the car. Great job controlling the turn. And we're going up to our little median here where it slows down to 15 miles an hour. Just going to do that again. I may need to give it some accelerator because I have someone behind me, but let's just let it do its thing as much as possible. Makes the turn. Okay, now gets back up to speed a little bit. Good job staging in advance. That's what we want to see, staging in advance of a car parked on the side. So this is an unmarked road. This person's really behind me, but you know what? I just don't care today. Stays in the middle of the road until a car comes. Still does that behavior, right? So a car's coming, now it's going to get over. See that? It should definitely stay to the side of the road like it did on the other initial winding road where it sort of created its own middle line and stayed to the right of that. So that's bad behavior on the car's part. I'm gonna flag that just because it's not biasing towards the right on the unmarked road. Slows down significantly here. And we have some speed bumps coming up, and I'm interested to see if it actually recognizes and slows down for those. Slows down for these medians significantly. I know the person behind me is upset, but you know what? It's okay. Slowing down. I'm going to give it some accelerator here just because it's really, really slowing down around these medians. And now we're in the speed bump area. Let's see what happens. If it doesn't slow down, I'm going to slow down for it. Not slowing down. Did not slow down for speed bumps. This turns to speed bumps here. I'm going to just take this whole section. You can count it as a disengagement if you'd like. I don't mind, but it's not recognizing or slowing down. It's not even visualizing the speed bump here. And these are pretty aggressive speed bumps. Squirrel, run for your life, please. Just don't turn right. All right, this is the last one. Then I will give control back over to the car to see what it does from here. Bump up to 30. All right, here we go. So speed bump's not good. Comes to that complete stop. Car is coming right here. Creeping up, creeping up, creeping up, creeping up. And it goes for it. Oh, this person's gonna fly by me when I go. Oh, the water's going all over the place. Keep the waters there just to give you the inertia, the momentum that the car is experiencing here that you can't really get. Wow, that's pretty awkward. Super weird here. Turn signal, but it didn't take it. So awkward, but it didn't take it. I'll flag it. All right. Definitely wanted to go over that median area, which is not good. But it didn't do it. So it thought about it with its turn signal. So that's the thinking with the turn signal, which is not good. But then the good behavior, the redeeming behavior, is that it's not acting on it. It's not acting on what it was thinking about. So that's a good sign there so far. Obviously, it needs to correct that and not do it at all. But it also just needs to make sure it doesn't adhere to it, so we're not in a safety critical situation where we're compromised. We're gonna make this left turn and be in this left lane. Let's hope it stays there. This one's really, really close to me. I don't understand what the problem is. But then we'll get on the highway from here. And as we test this build out and as we start to do different scenarios, if it feels like it's good enough, I may sneak it into New York City. Not confident, optimistic that it's going to do anything significant in New York City right now, because I feel like it still hasn't been, deep trained and tested in New York City. And I've seen some videos of people that are living in that area where it still seems to have issues. So for those asking, goes wide. For those asking, that's when we'll go back to NYC, when we're confident that it's actually going to be able to make some inroads and some progress in NYC. And this is a good indicator of what it could be doing in NYC. So again, if it's a solid build right now, if it's good, we'll go ahead and take it out for a spin in the city and see what it's like. Okay, getting on to the highway. Little odd there. A little too fast. Come on. Good job controlling and staying away from that middle area, which I appreciate. Good control around here, very smooth, very human-like. This guy's really on me behind me, but okay, he can pass me once we get on the highway, because I assume it's gonna do the same thing where it takes a long time to merge. But let's see. It jumps down to 40 for some reason. That was odd. I'm gonna bump up manually here, speed things up a bit. No turn signal on the merge, not good. At the very end of it. And for the lane changes are still super smooth. I think it's gonna just sit here because it has to get off in a couple exits right here. So might just sit here. This person's really on my tail. I don't know what the problem is. Just go around, my friend. We're not racing today. Okay, so we're just gonna make the decision to get around this particular person based on the speed that I've set. I have it set to assertive. I didn't put minimal lane changes on this particular trip, but I have it set to assertive right now. So that's the profile that it's on. Let's see what happens. So far, so good. So far, super smooth. But again, pretty sparse roads in terms of traffic. Sort of not a true indicator, but it's still a good positive indicator of what it can do just on a blank road, empty road, which is great. Coming up to our turn, it should actually be in this lane now. Actually, no, maybe I'm mistaken. Let's see. We're at 5A. That's the turn we typically take. Taking a different route today, so I'm okay with this. A little bit of force. Everyone's racing today. Good for them. Police officer probably chasing him down. No, maybe not. All right, so I'm at 65. I'm gonna bump up to 70 just because everybody seems to be moving a little bit faster. And I'm in this middle lane. I'll just keep it here, a little 5 mile an hour over, offset, just to keep to the flow of traffic. Okay, we should be getting over pretty soon now. And it's gonna be a pretty sharp and aggressive turn to get off the highway here. See how it takes that, see how composed it is. On city streets, if you're using this for the first time, you want to keep your foot over the brake to save yourself in an emergency. That's your big red button should anything go wrong. Don't try to grab the yoke or the wheel. Hit the brake. On the highway, you want to actually do the opposite. You want to actually be prepared to hit the accelerator a little bit to override acceleration if any phantom braking occurs. But also be prepared to hit the brake as necessary to disengage altogether. But it's more often that the main issue that you'll suffer on the highway is phantom braking, in which case you have to accelerate out of. A little late to get into this lane here, a little odd. Should have got there a little bit sooner, but let's see what happens. Good control, good way to stay on the inside of the turn, good control of the mass of the car, not let the mass take it to the outside of the turn. So good control, so it's a 30 mile an hour max here for this off-ramp. Interchange, whatever you want to call it, and it's doing a good job controlling it with a yield sign that then needs to merge. Good job, and it merges. Great job there. So there's another merge that's coming up that I don't know if, there it is right here, if it matters right now, but typically cars will come off that ramp and they'll be coming from the side lane here. So it creates a challenging situation sometimes as well. But let's just see how FSD Beta does. Squirrel, run squirrel, good job. Didn't avoid that, I was at the ready. It still does not recognize animals of a certain size. Squirrels being one of them, chipmunks being another, mice, rats, rabbits, anything of that nature. Not that I've seen mice or rats running across the street, but I've definitely seen rabbits, chipmunks, and squirrels. And it does not recognize them as animals the way that it does like a dog or something like that, or a cat even. Good job avoiding this sign here. And we're coming up to a turn. Going by, here we go. Good job, turning. Nice and easy. Birds, it doesn't see either, as that bird slowly makes its way across the street. Okay. A little bit of a weird turn here. Has to make a right then a left. Comes to a complete stop with no stop sign visible. Makes the right. And then makes the left. And we are here. Okay. So this is effectively the end of our trip. And I want to know your thoughts. I want to know what you think about this particular trip, this particular drive that we did here on FSD Beta 11.4.2. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. It was pretty straightforward, empty roads. In terms of the measure of our regression testing, I think you saw that on the screen. You saw what it looked like, how it passed basically all the tests except for the hesitation with the unprotected left, which wasn't good. On this second trip, this more newer trip that it hasn't gone down before, sort of a blind trip for it, it's done pretty well as well, minus some late timing on certain things, small nuances on certain things that we can give it a pass for, with the exception of the speed bumps. Speed bumps are still an issue here. Speed bumps are still a problem for FSD Beta. right now where it doesn't recognize them. It used to adhere to them and recognize them and visualize them on the screen. That's not the case here, at least here in the Northeast. So that's not a good thing. Okay, so otherwise, I think it's pretty good. If I look at the criteria that we use to score, safety, confidence, decision-making, right, and comfort, I'd say that in terms of safety, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. I think it was pretty good. I didn't feel in danger at all at any point, but I did feel in danger from my suspension going over those speed bumps, so I bumped it down a little bit. In terms of decision-making, I'll give it an 8. Really good at decision-making, making some good decisions. Being methodical is not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with being methodical. So it's being methodical in certain areas, and that was fine. And so I think that from that perspective, I want to give it an 8, a high score for decision-making. In terms of confidence, it also showed a lot of confidence. So I want to give that also an 8. Showed a lot of confidence, but obviously it was very methodical. So methodical nature also can convey lack of confidence, that it's not confident that it's going to go in the right way, go on the right speed, or has clearance. All right. And then also in terms of comfort, how comfortable I felt. I felt really comfortable in the car. I want to give the comfort an 8 as well. Very comfortable. Did not feel uncomfortable at all, except for when it was going fast over those speed bumps. So that kind of tainted my impression. Now, obviously, these are subjective opinions, not objective, but subjective opinions based on how I feel in the car as the car drives around for me or drives me around, however you want to call it. All right. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, right? So this, I think, is probably the best, one of the best builds to date. It's probably a toss up between 11.4.1 and 11.4.2, just based on that first regression testing path. Again, I would love to see this with more traffic to really give it an apples to apples comparison to 11.4.1, but it's still pretty rock solid, and it seems to not regress, if at all, but maybe add a little bit more methodical nature. One of the things we didn't get a chance to test because no traffic was the interaction between the opposing lanes. So having multiple lanes, the yellow line dividing it, cars coming down, and it reacting, prematurely or overreacting to certain scenarios. That was the issue with 11.4.1. Doesn't seem to be the case, but we haven't had really enough use cases here in terms of traffic to be able to test that. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good build. Pretty confidence inspiring. Hope everyone gets a chance to test it out. Hope it goes wider than it is right now so you all can experience the 11.4. I think it's a big leap here in the Northeast. I specify the location because that matters. Here in the Northeast, 11.4 build is a significant leap over 11.3.6, which is what everybody else who's gone wide has gotten. Okay, West Coast I can't speak on. It seems to work even better there. But here in the Northeast, 11.4 build is great. Some areas say the 11.4 build is a regression to 11.3.6. But again, you be the judge of it when you get it in your car and in your location. All right. So until the next time, enjoy your day. Enjoy your Tesla. Enjoy your FSD Beta. Be safe. Take over early and often. Don't be ashamed to take over early and often. We'll catch you in the next video.